Good evening, everybody. Tom Martin the Mellet here. Hope you're all going well. So, I'm recovering well from cutting my hand on glass the other day. I was cleaning, a glass jar in my home, and nobody told me it was broken, so I actually gashed myself. Needed some steri strips and some glue, but it's hopefully healing underneath there. So, anyway, I'm going to talk to you tonight about times I basically cancel travel plans. Now, I know a lot of you people in the last 2 years, you've had to brush aside any travel plans because of the pandemic. But it's not just pandemics that do affect people's travel plans, it's also people's personal life. Like, you might be ready to go away on some exciting adventure, but then all of a sudden, somebody close to you gets sick, gets ill, dies, or something tragic happens and you don't end up going. There's a saying in life, die with memories, not dreams. I learned that off seeing that tattooed on the leg of a woman many years ago, and that's something to live by and all. So in the past 10 years, there were times that I did book travel, but I never ended up taking that. I remember August 2011, I just came back from 19 days abroad visiting Africa, Asia, and Europe for the first time in my life. I told myself I wanted to come back to Germany to attend Headbangers Open Air and sing my friends' bands Lord and Hellbringer. So I bought a flight from Hong Kong to Istanbul with a transit in Moscow, and the plan was basically just fly to Istanbul and travel all the way to Germany. I didn't end up using this plane ticket because Aeroflot was a really bad airline. I didn't want to get screwed up with visa regulations in transiting Moscow airport, as I wasn't really want to spend money just to buy a visa just to transit an airport. So I scrapped that. And the second plan was, July, around the same time, July 2012. I found cheap flights from Australia to Malaysia and Malaysia to Tehran. My plan was to fly to Tehran, change planes, go into Istanbul and Germany to attend the same festival of Headbangers Open Air. When I got to the airport at Kuala Lumpur, they said to me, when you enter, Iran, they're gonna, stamp your passport and your visa won't be valid anymore. And I wasn't supposed to enter Iran for a couple of weeks later, because I was supposed to enter Iran at the train board on the TransAsian Express on the Turkey-Iran border. So what I did was I basically backed out. I traveled to the big Kuala Lumpur airport and I flew to London for 800 Australian dollars. Just total overpriced, but it was a nice 12-hour flight, but I got to get to Headbangers Open Air in the first place. It was July 2013 and I was supposed to go back to Germany again to attend Headbangers Open Air. But in the months prior to that, I lost my job in Sydney with this cafe I worked at, Harvest Cafe and Bar, closed, and I didn't end up getting a new job, and so I basically thought, stuff it, I'm gonna go to attend Hellfest. So before I left, I got really teary at home because I told myself, I'm not ready to move to the United Kingdom. And I deeply regretted, going over to the United Kingdom, then going to Hellfest, because it was at Hellfest when I decided that I would no longer attend 3-day camping festivals because I thought they were a waste of time, they were a waste of my life, and I'd rather be doing things in France rather than camping in Nantes for 3 days just to see Kiss and Def Leppard. I stupidly travelled back to Australia, and I didn't end up attending Headbangers Open Air. And then there was, my mate's band Lord, they were planning a tour of Japan and Korea, and I really wanted to go to those countries. But at the time of my life, I just came back from a trip to Europe, and I was starting to be addicted to escorts. So, unfortunately, I just couldn't see my friend's band in Japan. I just had to pass it. I had to work on my career. January 2014, I remember I paid 550 Australian dollars for a flight in November 2014 to fly from Malaysia to Istanbul. So if I flew from Malaysia to Istanbul, it means I'd get to see a lot more Balkan nations or maybe some more nations in the Middle East. I didn't go through with the plan because I decided to travel to East Timor on Boxing Day. But the strange thing was that the day I was supposed to like leave for Malaysia was actually the day my aunt in New Zealand passed away, and her death did not affect me that well. And then so after I got sick in Malaysia in 2015, I planned that I'd work hard at my job in Australia and I'd move to Sweden at the end of 2015. I actually cancelled that flight because I got into an argument with my mother over some politics in Syria, and I ended up moving to Birmingham, would you believe, in July 2015 and not Stockholm. And then it was, what was it? It was like 2016. I had a ticket to go to the Philippines. My plan was to go to the Philippines first, have a look around, then go back to United Kingdom, get a job there, and see King Diamond live. I actually cancelled that trip to the Philippines because I wanted to see Metal Church live. And that was kind of like one of the greatest things I did, because it was the second gig I ever went to in London. And years down the track, Mike Howe died tragically this year. So I always feel honoured that I got to see Metal Church live in London when I was like Mike Howe. And that was before he died. Then like 2 years ago, I had plans, alright, like I wanted to go to Barbados at the start of 2020. So I bought a one-way ticket on Thomas Cook. Weeks later, Thomas Cook went bust. I got my money back. And then I had plans on just travelling in East Africa for my 34th birthday. But then it was bugging me that I had not been to South America. So I actually scrapped a whole trip to East Africa just so I could fly to Cayenne in French Guiana, set foot in South America, visit French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, and Brazil, so I could tell my brother in Australia to shut up and stop bothering me about not being able to visit South America. So I did have some plans this week, next week, to travel a bit. And I'm not too sure if I'll be able to take them or not, but yeah, you never know what's around the corner. I mean, you got to remember, like last year, I wasn't supposed to leave for Serbia until the middle of November, and I left early. But even though I didn't get to visit my mysterious nation that I wanted to visit, chances are that, your travel plans you'll get there one day in your life, no matter how old you are. So, I mean, so let's just say, alright, like last year, I wanted to visit Ghana and Iraq. That didn't happen. Maybe a trip to Ghana and Iraq is around the corner in 2022. I'm not too sure if I could be bothered going to Ghana because of the visa regulations, but definitely Iraq is on the bucket list for a lot of people these days. Anyway, I'm Martin the Metalhead. Don't cancel those travel plans. Just push them forward. Keep pushing them back until you find the right time to travel. I'm over and out.